Hi, my name is Amy. Thank you very much for watching, and let's make some bad financial decisions together. This is for entertainment purposes only, so if you're entertained, please like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. So, I'd like to talk to you today about GPTY because it's coming out on Thursday, which this should be coming out tomorrow for me, so Wednesday. So, tomorrow, this is going to come out, and I know that we don't want to get too excited about things that don't exist yet, but I wanted to talk about investing in AI and high-income ETFs, because other than GPTY, the only other high-income ETF really is the AIPI, and nobody complains about AIPI. Usually in the comment sections, people are just like, hey, remember AIPI? And I'm like, yeah, sure, fine, whatever. But the only reason I'm not in AIPI is because I accidentally sold my shares months ago, and I never got back in because I decided to focus on Bitcoin and then just making my entire portfolio more well-rounded. So like XCTE and the other round hill funds fit my investment goals for now, but I will definitely give AIPI a second glance for me to invest in personally once I've reached my income goals and I'm looking for new funds to get into that are more stable and are more protective of my NAV and pay just a little bit less in distributions. So usually, I mean, getting paid less is not the worst thing because it means that your NAV doesn't go down during for the distribution, which means that it doesn't have so much room to have to go back up in order to recover the NAV. And over time, if the stock appreciates in value, then the percent that you're getting back, just like for your cost basis, it'll grow over time. At least that's the hope. So I like using total real returns, not sponsored by them, just something I use because it's a pretty easy tool to understand. But if you'd put $10,000 in XCTE, in AIPI and FATB, and we could add PLTY and probably Nvidia, right? Which I'm not sure if those are, anyways, I would just say fair, but still. So, okay. So, in this time period, which is from October 2024, if you had put it into XDTE, you would have had $10,385. And then for AIPI, you would have more money, like $500 more. And if you had invested in FEPI, it's around the same as if you were in XCTE, but XCTE pays more per distribution, and it's also less concentrated than FEPI, so there's that. And if you had invested in PLTY, you would have had $14,000, which is a lot more, but it's also just a single stock, and it has way more risk than AIPI. And then Nvidia is more than XCTE, less than AIPI, and it's just that Nvidia is in like a resting period. So I am not as familiar or as confident in AI and specifically like Nvidia and that stuff, but from what I've gathered from my own research, AI in this, like the semiconductor space, is cyclical, and the cycle is around 5 to 6 years long. So I think this sector the semiconductors, just in general, might be at the tail end of the cycle, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't invest in Nvidia. It just means that you might have to wait a few years before the next chip comes out to see, the parabolic growth that it had this time. But that's just my impression from my research. And so, like, AIPI from RecShares is a basket of different AI-related companies. So you can actually see their holdings, and it's the typical NVIDIA, Palantir, CrowdStrike. This is looking exactly like LFDY almost, except they have like IBM and Adobe and Salesforce. So I guess I've used Datadog in my jobs. I always like it when there's things I've used. So what I'm getting at is, AIPI is a basket of stocks, and so is GPTY. So they're going to be directly comparable. The good thing about RecShares is that they're not promising you to get the exact IV of everything. They do slightly out of the money cover calls. So in general, they don't lose as much, so they're able to preserve their NAV more. So what I would recommend, and I'm not recommending anything, but here's an option that you could do. An AIQ is from Global X ETFs, and it's not really a dividend paying ETF. It is growth focused. So basically what I'm saying is you are investing in AIPI. That is a monthly payer. But what you could do is take your dividends and put it into GPTY. And then when GPTY pays out, you can put it a portion, not the whole thing, but a portion to AIQ, and then reinvest the rest into GPTY. Do the same thing again, but this time, instead of accepting the dividend that week, probably on Monday or Tuesday, you actually sell your shares of GPTY and you put that back into AIPI, or at least before the declaration date for AIPI, and that way your AIPI dividend is earning dividends 3 or 4 times every month, and you can still grow your AIPI position, and then when that pays out, you just keep doing this dividend wheel again. And the reason why you would put a portion into AIQ every week is because these covered calls, they cap the upside. So if you put a portion into the growth, you won't be as handicapped with your growth, and then you can make your rules of when it's above the 200-day moving average, for example, then you take a portion, you put that back into AIPI, and that way you'll have more money just in general. So then, and if you're doing this basically as a dividend wheel without you having to write your own call options, if the entire market goes down and there's nothing really, you can still sell what you have for GPTY for a loss and have it in the AIPI, or you can just keep it in GPTY and just put the dividend from GPTY into AIPI and just say, well, I lost that cycle, but now you have more GPTY, and so you can sell the next time when it recovers. So I've done this before, like this is the suggestion for what people say to do. So basically what you could do if you really want to write your own options, is like, if you have MSTY, then you can write puts on like MSTU at like really far out of the option. So you're making like $5 on top of it maybe a month, like for the entire 100 share contract. And then you do it 3 times, and then when MSTY is due again, you just use the money because you didn't get assigned, and you put that back into MSTY, and that way your distributions are working instead of just you put it back into MSTY and it's not working for you for 3 weeks. So that's just a thing that if you want to start your own, this is kind of like the silos that I've been talking about, which I do have this graphic too of like, you should balance your portfolio with SCHD, SHD, and VU, and then 5% of it be like your individual stock plays, but your individual stock play could look like you have MSTY and you do your wheel on MSTX and you put a bit of it into MR, and when, you know, the MSTR has above 200 days, then you take it out and you put it into MSTY, and you just keep doing the cover calls, and it's like a nice little ecosystem. So that's just want to go over today because GPTY is not out. We don't know what the distributions are going to be or what the payout's going to be like. It's probably going to be more than AIPI, but the NAV's probably not going to be as stable as AIPI. So there's that. But anyways, now is the time of the night where we actually go over things that I want to promote. Woo! So this is YieldMight.com, and the point of this is, what might my distribution be if I put in a certain amount of money? So like, if I had $8,000 to put in this time, if for this week's distribution, I don't know why that changed, I would be getting $58 this week from XDTE, and you can go in here and you can change the stock price and the starting amount and the dividend amount, and yeah, that's what YieldMight is. And Divman actually did a video about this yesterday, and he did a pretty good job of doing an overview of that, and I'm pretty happy that people are finding this useful enough that they're actually making YouTube videos about it. So please check out Divman, and thank you. I really do appreciate that. And then finally, we have Financial Philharmonics. We are starting to do 2 songs a day because I messed up my math with Suno and how many songs I could create, and I'm running out of credits, and I'd rather not spend even more money on Suno, honestly. So we're just going to pump the brakes a little bit on what I'm distributing for Financial Philharmonics until the 6th of February when my credits rejuvenate. So we have the Budget Boogie, which is a doo-wop song about making your budget and how it's actually, once you have enough money, budgeting is actually pretty exciting because it's not about saying no anymore. It's about figuring out how to say yes and your goals and doing like ideation. So we're gonna boogie to the budget. And then Hey MSTY is based off of Hey Mickey. I got that song stuck in my head on Saturday, and I like the Hawaiian version the best, so if you thought that I was going to contain my enthusiasm for MSTY to just English, you got another thing coming, because I was pretty excited to be able to use my Asian studies major. And I'm not fluent in Japanese or anything, but I was able to change the lyrics enough so that they make sense and are about YieldMax. So I'm pretty excited about that. It sounds nothing like Hey Mickey, but that's kind of the point, because copyright, and I don't want to get sued. So, but it's like a upbeat J-pop song. So I'm pretty happy with that. And anyways, I will talk to you all later. Are you excited about GPTY, and how long until you're going to put money into it? I'll talk to you later. Bye.